Everybody's always looking for the get-rich-quick answer. The silver bullet that will double their revenue, that will double their customer base, that will send them skyrocketing past $1 million. Well, in today's episode, I'm going to show you exactly how I managed to increase my sales by over 50% in less than 12 hours. Welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast, where I, Selena Knight, share strategies, interview retail revolutionaries, and delve into the minds of e-commerce experts to help you grow a profitable, independent retail or e-commerce business. If you're stuck in a rut, or if you feel like business is way harder than it should be, or you've overachieved all of the things that you've set out to and are wondering what to do next, or how do I even make this better? I know that you're going to love today's episode. Hey there, and thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. I'm Selena Knight, the retail strategist. And if you want to scale your business to fill your soul and your bank account, then you are in the exact right place, because today I'm going to share with you something that I put into action just 2 weekends ago and how I managed to add 50% to my revenue in just 12 hours. And I did it in what I consider to be the toughest market to get money out of, the bargain basement shoppers. Now, today's episode is actually a fun episode because as much as I talk about business, it's not something I did in my business. It's something I did inside of my personal life. In fact, it is what I did at my garage sale. Yes, the country house rescue has pretty much completed. I've got a story to tell you about that. But we went down, not last weekend, the weekend before, and we had a garage sale to get rid of an entire house full of furniture. Now, the funny thing is, it never actually occurred to me that we wouldn't sell everything. So I had no plans in place to bring it home. But in today's episode, I want to share with you some of the things that I did, which are very out of the ordinary, to get as many people as I could in the door, to get the sales that I wanted, and how I got that extra 50% worth of revenue in just 12 hours. Now, these are all things that you can take away as inspiration and implement into your own business. Here's the thing. We were down there we left on Friday. We stayed there Friday and Saturday night, came home Sunday, and about 3 hours after we left, a massive storm came through the town and blew down the only tree that happens to be in the yard. Now, that tree is about 100 feet tall, so about 30 meters tall. Luckily, it did not hit the house. In fact, it did hit the house. It took out all of the power lines, but because it hit the power lines, it only just brushed down the side of the house. It also managed to take out a whole bunch of fences. So we were supposed to hand the house over to the new owners, in fact, tomorrow. But that's not happening now because the insurance company has to fix all of the damage. Oh well, absolutely nothing I can change about that. It's all in the hands of the powers that be. Meanwhile, what I get to do is share some funny stories with you about some really lovely people that I met at the garage sale, and you get to see how some of these really small things that I did, and the most expensive thing I did cost, I think, $7.80 or maybe $12. Anyway, let's call it less than $20. I spent less than $20 to be able to increase my revenue so significantly. So you get to take all of these and you can see that you can implement them in so many different places of your life, whether it is in your business, whether you're doing some fundraising for your local school, it doesn't matter. You can take these things and make them work for you. Now, just before we jump into today's episode, which I did record inside of the Scale Your Store Facebook group, so you'll hear me talk about a few of the resources that we have, and we'll talk about some of the modules and things inside of the program. If listening to this makes you think, you know what, I would love to be part of that, I would love to know more about it, head over to scaleyourstore.com and you can check out the entire program and see how Scale Your Store is not just a course, it is a toolbox. In fact, some people even call it a blueprint that you use every single 90 days to build out a plan to help you scale your retail or e-commerce store without you burning out. head over to scaleyourstore.com and check it out. Okay, let's jump into this recording that I did inside of our Scale Your Store private Facebook group. Hello. I just wanted to flash some cash at you. So that is what I'm holding there, and flashing, let's go with the big dollars first, right? All of that amounts to around about $2,000, and that is the money that I made this weekend from the Country House Rescue garage sale. Now, I wanted to talk to you about the fact that this is not actually all the money that I made. There is more. And so I wanted to talk to you today about what I did to actually increase my revenue from the garage sale by 50%. So there's like another $1,000 somewhere else, and I'm going to tell you what I did. So first up, I just wanted to let you know, if you haven't been following along with Country House Rescue, it is a property that I owned in a little country town in New South Wales called Cowra. And I've owned the house for about 15 years, and realistically, the price was, the value of the property had not gone up in about 14 years. And then we got wind of the fact that the property wasn't being looked after by the agent. We had an agent managing the property. And so it was actually a belated Christmas lunch in January last year when I mentioned that I was going to have to try and get access, but all of this was during COVID. I was going to try and get access to the house and see what was so bad about it, because we had a big fight with our agent. We'd agreed to part ways, and I asked a bunch of other agents to go and look at the property, and they all said that they wouldn't take the property on. And I was like, well, why won't you take the property on? And then one of the ladies actually called me, and she said, I don't know if you've seen the house, but it is like disgusting. Like, I had to have a shower after I went through the house. And I'm like, well, that doesn't sound like any of the reports that I've gotten from the agent. Anyway, fast forward to sitting at this belated Christmas lunch, and my brother-in-law says, my cousin lives in Cowra. So Cowra is about 4.5 hours from Sydney, so not just down the road. I could get my cousin to go and take some pictures for you if you like. And so I was like, oh, great, that's fantastic. So she did. She went with a friend of hers. They took a whole bunch of photos, and oh my God, the place was like complete vomit worthy. They had seriously trashed the entire house. And it's a beautiful old farmhouse. It was built in the 1920s. It's got the awnings that go all around, and beautiful big garden. In fact, it's 2 blocks of land, and it had beautiful gardens with all the, country cottage gardens. And the place was just like, there were massive holes in the backyard. There were holes in pretty much every door had a hole in it. The place was filthy. Like, she had pictures of cockroaches running around. And if you follow me on Instagram, you would know that. You would have seen some of the pictures. Anyway, at that point, we decided to evict the tenants and give them the required notice, which meant that we would probably get the place back in April. So we're kind of thinking ahead, going, well, if we go down there for a couple of weeks, it will give us a chance to clean the place out, throw a bit of paint up there and move it all on. But little did we know it was going to take nearly 9 months to get our property back, because you give the tenants the required notice, they don't leave, and then you have to apply to the tribunal to get them out, and then that takes 4 to 6 weeks. And then when we went to the tribunal, even though we had submitted all these pictures, the tenant said, well, we've got nowhere to go. And so the tribunal gave them another 100 days to find somewhere else. So all this is dragging on. The stress of just knowing that the property was going to get worse and worse, and what were they going to do in the meantime, because now they had been evicted and they had a specific date they had to go by. So as that date got closer and closer and closer, COVID re-hit, we were all in lockdown. The exemption process came in, where you had to apply if you wanted to leave Sydney. And because Lana was homeschooling, we had decided that we would actually just move down there for however long it took. I can work remotely, Ed can work remotely, Lana was doing home learning. We're like, we'll just go down there for a couple of months if we have to. But they didn't go. We ended up having to get the sheriff to go and make sure we got them out, and long story short, we got there, we pulled up. The minute we walked into the house, the smell was so bad that we literally ripped out every piece of carpet in the house. And the stench of the carpet sitting on the nature strip, on the grass verge, was so bad that when people walked past, they were like detouring around it. So we actually we lived in that house for, it was only about 2 weeks before we left that we got carpet. So like 3 months we had no carpet. We just had all these rugs that we brought from Sydney that we had all over the place. Anyway, fast forward again, and if you follow me on social media, you'll know that we did a lot of renovation work. We really struggled to get tradesmen, so it was a lot of back-breaking work from Ed and I. We literally every surface had to be done. We had to rebuild walls, we had to rebuild floors, ceilings, we had to have asbestos removed. There was insurance claims because the tenants had smashed holes in everything. But the place came out absolutely beautiful. And so one of the things that we did, and this is like just the precursor to how I made the extra money, is, and maybe this is like 2 stories, is we staged the property in beautiful kind of farmhouse style, but most of the stuff that went into the property I had purchased in Sydney or gotten for free on Facebook Marketplace. Now, the agent had told us that staging added about 10 to 20% to the sale price. So that $30,000 to $50,000 extra that we pocketed was all because of the staging, of which I think I spent about $1,200 buying things to put into the property. So my $1,200 return on investment was somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000. I'll take that every day. Now, fast forward, lots of fast forwarding here because I don't want to take the whole story up with the country house rescue, is the property settles in the next couple of, in a week or so. So we had to go down and empty out all the furniture and the shed, which still had all our tools and stuff in it. And I didn't want to have to bring the stuff back. We've got work happening here at home. Our garage is already full, but we had a whole house full, 4-bedroom house, 4 bedrooms, 2 lounge rooms full of furniture, beds, linen, couches, cushions, wall art, rugs, like you name it, it was there. Even kitchen, all the kitchen stuff we used when we were there, saucepans, blender, toaster, kettle, plates, the whole lot. And so I was really cognizant of the fact that I wanted this stuff gone. And so I want to tell you what I did to actually increase my revenue by 50%. Now, the first thing that I did was I put together a profit goal, like a revenue goal, not a profit goal, because it was nearly all profit, a revenue goal. And so I didn't just make this up. I kind of looked at, all right, fridge, and I did this in the next part I'm about to tell you, but fridge, sofa, rugs, bedding, mattresses, like kind of just put all these things together and was like, oh, okay, I'm expecting about $2,000. If we get $2,000, it was worth the trip. They have a tip shop there. So it's like a reuse type thing at the local garbage dump. So anything that's left over, we just take it to the tip shop and they'll use it to help other families. And so I was like, all right, $2,000. How am I going to make sure that all this stuff goes? I mean, tiny country town, 12,000 people. How the freaking heck do I get the word out about this garage sale? Because I'm not there. It's not like I can go put signs up the week before. And so here is what I did. The first thing is I found every buy, swap, sell group that was in the local area and community notice board, and I put we called it garage sale, the whole house garage sale up on those. And I did it on the Sunday before. So the garage sale was on a Saturday. I did it the Sunday before. So just about a week. Enough time for the word to get out, but not even on the Saturday because people would get confused and potentially turn up. And I actually didn't want them to turn up because we had all outdoor furniture and stuff. And hey, it could have been stolen. So on that Sunday, I put different pictures in different groups, but I put it in every group that I could possibly find. I think there were 4 groups altogether, and on Facebook Marketplace and on Gumtree. And so I was pretty confident that I'd done as much digital stuff as I possibly could. But then my strategy was, I've got to keep this going. And so the next day, my marketing brain went to work and I made it an event. And so what that meant was that people could mark themselves as going, And then it would, as I posted more stuff, it would keep reminding them about this garage sale. So I left the post as it was, but then I went in and added an event to every single group that I possibly could. And my strategy was that every single day I would go in and add another picture of something or another couple of pictures of something. And remember, these are the beautiful ads that the beautiful pictures that the real estate agent takes. So they always look amazing. But I'd be like, oh, hey, we've got these rugs, or hey, we've got queen size bed linen, vintage wash bed linen and 100% cotton and blah, 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 blah. And so that in and of itself kept driving more people to tag their friends inside of these events. And I made a particular point of also, like I was really spamming these groups, but in a really nice way, is that I would highlight particular things like the sofa or the fridge, like those high value things that people had been asking me about. I would then go and list those separately. So I had the sofa, West Elm sofa listed, and in the comments I had said, we're having a whole garage sale, no holds, I can't answer any questions, just come on the day. And so that started driving up the traffic as well. And then I would link back to the event. And so people were tagging their friends and tagging their friends. And then on the Thursday, I was thinking, do you know what? It would be great if I could run ads to this thing. I mean, Facebook is clearly working, but if I could run ads, that would be great. But I've never run ads to an event on a personal, inside of a group. So how could I do that? And so I did a little bit of research, and I ended up creating an event on my personal page, and I just made sure it was public. And then I ran an ad to it. Now, that ad, I spent a total of $7.26. So I had it running from probably late Thursday night, maybe like 8 or 9 o'clock Thursday night, up until 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock on Saturday. So sort of 2.5, 3 days. And I actually put a budget of $10 a day, but Facebook only, there's only 12,000 people in this town. There's only so many people it can show it to. I just did broad audience. And then because I didn't have a website to link the event to, what I did was I created an instant experience on Facebook. And so that's one of the options you can do inside of your ads. You can link to a website, or you can link to an instant experience. An instant experience is just loading up some of the products. That's all it is. Call to action was I could have a button that linked back to the event. And so all in all, it was something different. I hadn't done it for, hadn't been in ads for a little while. So put it all together. It took me about an hour and a half because I had to work it through as well, and made it very broad, ran the ads, and it just, had the address and all that kind of stuff on there. And so that ad was seen by at least 3 people. Now, obviously it was seen by a lot more people, but at least 3 people came to the garage sale and said that they had seen that ad. One was a marketer and said to me, I have never, ever seen an ad for a garage sale. She said, I actually went and looked you up because I was worried it was a scam. And I was like, I was going to shoot you down. And so she goes, no, but then I went to your page and saw that you're a real person and you've got a website and all that kind of stuff. So clearly you were there. And she said, I did a bit of research and I found the ad for the house with the same pictures. And I was like, oh, okay, this is a real thing. Funny thing, quite a few people said that they thought it was a scam, which is weird because I had specifically said in the copy, no holds, no deposits, you have to come on the day. And if it was a scam, I would have been saying you could put holds on it. Anyway, I'm just really proud of the fact that these people are alert for scams. All right, so far what I've done to just get people to this event in the first place is 1, I had a revenue goal before we even started. 2, I put my message in as many groups or as many places as I possibly could. I paid for some marketing. Now, it wasn't very much, but I kept going and adding to those ads or to those posts to keep the engagement up. So if someone asked a question, and I would just say things like, hey, make sure you tag some friends if you think that they would like this kind of stuff. And it worked. I went and highlighted specific items. So I didn't just wait for people to turn up or just wait for them to look through all the pictures and say, oh, that's what I'm looking for. So now we're on the day. So all of this happened on Thursday. Now we're on the day. Ed and I arrived on Friday afternoon. Lana went and stayed with a friend. We've just pulled everything out of the shed and realized that it just physically wasn't possible to, in my head, I was kind of going to arrange everything. Like, here's the linen, here's the rugs, but there was not enough time. And so we specifically said start at 8 o'clock. We'd had people message saying, I would like the sofa, I would like the dining table. And I was like, no, hold, just turn up on the day, first in, best dressed, starting at 8. So we did have some people turn up at 7, and I actually sent them away because I did not think that that was fair to the people who had contacted me and said what they wanted and said that they would be there at the time. They respected my wishes. Sure enough, those people all turned up at 8 o'clock and bought all the stuff that they wanted. So on the day, I realized that you don't have to work harder to make more money. Just work smarter. The key thing was everything was set up as if the house was for sale. So everything was in a vignette. So everything was grouped together to look beautiful. Funny story, someone actually came in and bought the entire master bedroom. Just said, I'll just take everything. Just shut the door. I'll take it. How much? Right? And that is the power of merchandising. And you know what? I suck at merchandising. So I was pretty impressed with that. The lady who came at 8 o'clock and bought the sofa, again, bought the sofa, the rug, the cushions, the dining, like all the things that matched. She took the whole lot because in her head, she's like, I'm just going to set it up like this. She was taking pictures. Like, I don't need to rethink this. I'm just going to set it up. You've done exactly what I wanted. So I didn't make it hard for people to think through. And so actually not wanting to work harder was working smarter because people didn't have to think. Now, the next thing that I did, so I had my revenue goal and I'd done my marketing, but I also accepted multiple forms of payment. Right? It's the country. People like to deal with cash. Like, hello, look at all the cash that I've got. But I also realized that there was a pretty good chance if I could get them in the door that they would see more stuff that they might like. And so I set up my Pay ID where people can pay you with a phone number, my PayPal, and also my bank transfer. And I printed out a piece of paper. I printed out several of them and put them around the house to tell people that if they didn't have the cash, they could pay me in some other way. And so this is so important for you guys because I see people saying things like, oh, I won't accept Amex because it costs more. But if you actually negotiate with Amex, you'll be down at the same rate as MasterCard and Visa. Like, this is smart marketing. Not accepting PayPal, not accepting Stripe, like not having all the different payment methods. If I had not taken the bank deposit, I wouldn't have the other $1,000 that's in the bank account on top of all of this cash. Now, I've actually used some of the cash too, so this is what's left. So having those multiple different forms of payment. The other thing is I had help, right? You can't sell on your own. Now, I don't care what it is you're selling. You need help, whether it's marketing help. And you know what? We do have marketing help. We've got an ads person. So that person is running ads for other things. But I had Ed there. In fact, one lady, she was so lovely. She was in one of those moon boots. She was like, while my friends are looking, I'm just going to sit out here. And Ed was helping someone take stuff to the car. She's like, I'm just going to direct people. I've been around the house. I know where everything is. And she just sat there, and as people came in, what are you looking for? Rugs? Oh, yep, down the back over there. Yep, there's still some over there. She was so lovely. She didn't ask for anything. She just wanted to be part of it. So you always have to have help. And I'm thinking if you're doing like market stalls or trade shows or even in a store, or even if you're packing orders by yourself, remember, you will make more money if you have help. I wouldn't have made the amount of money that I did if Ed wasn't there because I couldn't be, he was out he was out the front doing all the things we put on the front porch and in the front garden, and I was wandering around the house doing the inside stuff. I wouldn't have made that much money because people would have walked away because it was too hard to pay. Okay, so having help was really important. Now, having that revenue goal, like I keep coming back to that because I got a little bit deflated. Like we were absolutely hammered with people in the morning. So 8 o'clock we opened. By 9:30, I was like, oh man. And I was, better go count. It was a little bit of a lull. So I was counting my cash. I was like, oh, we've done so well. We're only at $1,000. But we'd felt like we'd sold all the big stuff apart from the fridge. We sold the dining table, the sofa, the rugs, all of that furniture. He hadn't paid me yet, so I was, had forgotten about that. He had just said, "Shut the door. I'll go get some cash and come back." But I was like, we've only done $1,000, and okay, it's only 9:30, but realistically, I don't think people are going to come after lunch. I've just remembered one more marketing thing that I did was the night before when we went to the pub for dinner, is I actually just got some old cardboard boxes and just wrote garage sale with the address and the time. And I stuck one at the end of the street. I stuck one at the grocery store, and there was some community markets happening on Saturday. So I stuck one on the gate as people walked into the community markets. That's it. Like literally a marker, a bit of old cardboard. But that also drove quite a bit of traffic. And so I just wanted to point that out, because sometimes something as simple as old school can help. Like, you don't think that everything is digital. Like, your customers may not always be online. But by about 9:30, I was getting a little bit stressed out because there was still a lot of stuff in the house. Now, I had a couple of choices. I could either bring it back to Sydney. That was not anywhere in my realms of possibility, or I could take it to the tip shop. I was totally fine with just giving it to the charity to be able to help, either to sell or to give people to help them. But the tip shop didn't open till 10 a.m. And I was just thinking, oh my God, I want to be home in time for dinner tomorrow. I don't want to be spending the whole day hauling stuff to the tip shop. As much as they would appreciate it, it would just be nicer if we could get it gone. And so by about 10 a.m., I realized that we needed to be bumping like more people through. We needed more people to be seeing these ads. And so I started listing individual items again. Rug. And I just said, no holds, no deposits. We're having a garage sale. Here's the address. First in, best dressed. Come and get it. And so I started listing again, rug, like anything I could think of that would potentially get people to the garage sale, and lots of different things. So we had some tools, we had some garden stuff, we had rugs, we had a little bit of furniture left, like bedside tables, we had some lamps, the kitchen stuff, all of that. And so I just started listing, like every 20 minutes, I would list one more thing. And I just copied, like I didn't even type the same thing out. I just literally copied and pasted, having a garage sale. If you want it, come and get it. So that was about 10 a.m. We had another rush at lunchtime. And about 1 o'clock, it just felt like nobody, like that was it. Everybody was done and dusted. And so the good thing was most of the things I'd posted had sold, so I could go through and mark them as sold. Now, I didn't know that you could do this, but I noticed that quite a few people had started following what I was posting. As I said, I didn't know you could do this in a Facebook group, but in those buy and sell groups, you can follow a person's listings. And Facebook popped up a message that said, Jane is following your listings. Emma is following your listings. I was like, oh my gosh, there are people who have gone to the effort of following what I post. So clearly those people are interested. And there was also one lady who came back, her lovely name, Alison. She came back 4 times and bought stuff every single time she came. And the last time she's like, oh, I just saw you posted that on Facebook. I'd forgotten that. I kind of wanted that. And she was so lovely. So I was like, oh, these people clearly want what we're selling. And so again, I just started going around finding other stuff to post and kept, really just hammering 3 or 4 things, gave it 20 minutes, 3 or 4 things, gave it 20 minutes. And up until 9 p.m. that night, we still had people coming to get stuff. So finally went to bed. People were messaging me. I was like, no, it's time. I really have to go to bed. Put up the last of the big stuff. So we had 2 outdoor benches and 2 outdoor rugs, and then a beautiful outdoor setting. Now, all those things together we'd marked the price down, I think about $450. And I actually had no problems bringing those home because I was thinking I could use those in the back garden. But realistically, we had a trailer. That's it, a small trailer to bring stuff home. And I was like, oh my God, how are we going to get this stuff home? We're going to have to dismantle it to put it back in the trailer because all of our tools and stuff had to come home as well. I was like, oh, bugger it. I'm just going to put it back up. I'm going to reduce the price, and then I'm going to put another listing up and say, you can also have the rug and the cushions. So I'd listed the outdoor benches and then the outdoor rug separately, and then I put them up again as a package, and went to bed at 9 o'clock. and I usually go to bed with meditation. I put my earbuds in and I listen to meditation music. I actually had to disconnect it because my bloody phone was dinging with Facebook messages all night, even though it was on silent. Now, we had planned to leave by about 11 o'clock the next day so we could get home in time for dinner. When I woke up, I think we had about 40 messages of people who wanted stuff. And so it was about 6 a.m. Again, I just made it really, really clear. I messaged every single person if the thing was still there and said, you can come between 7 and 9 a.m. We'll be leaving after that. It's first in, best dressed. Here's the address. Just turn up. And by 9 a.m., we had sold everything except for 2 small rugs, 1 fake plant, and just trying to think what else. Oh, decor. Like we had all the shelves staged. Now that didn't worry me because that stuff was fine to go to the tip shop. I had picked up most of that for free. But we also had a bit of kitchen stuff. Now, in the process of all of this, I'd met, like I said, that really lovely lady, Alison, and I'd met another young guy who had come to Australia, I think as a refugee. His English wasn't that great. And he had bought some single bed linen. And it was very, very clear that he was struggling. He kind of mentioned that they'd just come to Australia and he was just starting out. And so I ended up giving him, like he bought the linen, but I gave him the pillows and the duvet and all that kind of stuff as well. And I woke up in the morning and I said to Ed, we could try and sell this stuff, like all the kitchen stuff that was there, brand new kettle, toaster maker, blender, all that kind of stuff. I said, but I might just message him on Facebook and see if they could use it. And it was 6:30 in the morning, and I was thinking there's a good chance that maybe he won't message me back. And so I was leaving that till last, and I messaged him and I was like, oh, hey, just wanted to let you know I've got all of this stuff here. You can have it for free if it's going to help you out. Unfortunately, you just have to come and get it by 9 a.m. And he messaged me straight back and he said, oh, are you sure? And I said, yeah, if you want it, you can come and take it. You just got to be here by 9 a.m. He was like, oh, thank you. He had 2 friends with him. And he's like, thank you, we really appreciate that. And he was there in about half an hour. And in fact, we gave them some more linen and things like that as well that, again, we could have brought it home and used it. But realistically, there was 3 refugees who'd just come to Australia who were just starting out. I mean, we didn't need the stuff, right? So by that point, it was like, I would just rather it goes to somebody who could be used. And that was a really nice feeling to be able to know that we'd help somebody out. And so we gave them some stuff that potentially I would have liked to keep, but you know what? It helped them out. So packed everything up into the trailer and we came home with not even a full trailer, which is perfect. And I said to Ed, you know what? I don't think it ever occurred to me that we wouldn't sell everything. In my head, it was done and dusted. Like, sure, we could take stuff to the tip shop. And I kind of thought maybe some of the decor stuff may not go. But yeah, that's one box of stuff. But it never occurred to me that we wouldn't sell everything. And I think that in and of itself was one of those key motivators because I didn't want to bring it home, but I just kind of knew it would happen. And I don't know, did I manifest it? Who knows? What I suspect is I didn't want to bring it home and I knew it would all sell. So I went to this extra effort to get it sold. And so again, on that Sunday, we got quite a bit of money through bank transfer because I was saying between 7 and 9 and people were like, oh, I can't get to the bank to get to the money. Don't worry. If you're happy to bank transfer, go for it. And so those like key things of making sure people have different payment methods, making sure you actually market and continue. Like marketing is not set and forget. Continuing to drive that traffic. And this is one of the key things that you guys know inside of Scale Your Store is we set profit goals and revenue goals. And if you've done the Making Money on Demand lesson, this is pretty much it, right? It's know how much you want. And then if you set that goal, then there's a good chance you're going to make it. So my goal was 2,000. I think we did about 3,200. I haven't actually checked the last few payments that came through the bank account. So that's 50% more revenue than what I expected in less than 24 hours because, you know, the garage sale went for the day and the extra money was all made the next day. But the key thing here was I had a goal and I knew that I just knew that I didn't want to bring, I wasn't going to bring this stuff home. And so that extra effort I went to, that extra effort of pushing myself, of doing an extra post on Facebook, even though I couldn't be bothered, of replying to people's messages, of saying to people, do you know what? You can pay by bank ID. Like, don't worry about the cash. It's actually better for me if you don't. Now I'm going to go into the bank and get rid of all this money. It's actually easier for me if you can just pay by bank deposit. And if you are not doing the whole revenue goal stuff, if you're not putting goals in place for the amount of money that you're bringing in, and we're not even talking about profit, that's a different conversation to have. What we're talking about is revenue. If you don't have those revenue goals, then how the freaking heck are you going to know if you are anywhere near close to hitting the numbers that you want to hit? I mean, what you're going to do is you're just going to keep turning up every single day and hoping that you make an amount of money. But when you have that goal, I mean, I could have given up at 2,000, right? That's what I was hoping to. But what was driving me was, no, this stuff is going. I'm not leaving it behind. And in fact, I even went to the effort. Someone had messaged me about a rug, and then she'd messaged me back saying, I spoke to my husband, thanks very much, but we've decided not to go ahead. Now, that rug was still there the next day. So I messaged her back and said, good morning, I just want to let you know we're packing up. If you wanted that rug, you can now have it for $20. Just let me know you would need to pick it up before 9 a.m. Now, as luck would have it, and you guys know this in retail, right? The minute someone wants something, someone else buys it. As luck would have it, someone came to pick up some fake plants and bought the rug as well. And so she was fine. She was like, oh, that's okay. It was like my backup rug, all good. But I went to that extra effort. And I did a podcast last week or the week before. If you don't want to sell, then it is time to close your doors. Retail is all about selling. It's all about sales. It's the same with this. I couldn't feel guilty about selling my product. I mean, that's what people were turning up for. I didn't make people turn up, right? Thinking, and I didn't do any bait and switch. It was like, here's what I've got. If people went to the effort of turning up to my garage sale, do you think that they're in the market to buy something? Hell yes. They wouldn't have turned up if they didn't. Sure, they might have just been having a sticky beak, but realistically, if someone's come to your website, if someone's come to your store doors, there's a good chance that they're going to buy something. So you are doing them a disservice if you aren't, if you aren't selling to them. Okay? So if you aren't happy selling, I just got a cough, 1 second. If you aren't happy selling, if you're not comfortable selling, you're probably in the wrong industry. You're in the wrong business, because that is what we do. The inherent nature of retail is we sell stuff. So get comfortable with selling. Get comfortable with having a revenue goal. Get comfortable with having a profit goal, but also get comfortable with doing whatever the heck you have to hit those goals or go beyond them. And when I say you, I mean you, your team. It's all about empowering the people around you to get to hit those numbers. Alrighty, that is pretty much everything. I just wanted to share with you why I ended up getting 50% more revenue than I expected in less than 24 hours. And hopefully you can take some of this wisdom, some of this advice, and put it into play. Maybe you've just needed that little refresh. Maybe you've needed a little kick up the butt. Put that into play in your business so that you can surpass your revenue goals for February, because you've got 7 more days. You've got 1 more week to kick February out of the park. So I want you to take some of this advice and put it into play in your business. Alrighty. I also wanted to say that the team and I have been having a chat, and we are going to be popping into this Scale Your Store group and doing a series of like training sessions on things like website development. Brian's just come into our team, and he is like a kick-ass website Shopify developer. He's going to come in and give you some tips. Elizabeth's going to come in and give you some branding and some copy tips. Glyza's going to come in and give you some Klaviyo tips. And we're in the high process. Fingers crossed, by this afternoon, we may have hired a brand new coordinator of people, office, and administration. And I'm hoping that she will help you to streamline your businesses as well. Alrighty, if you've got any questions, chuck them in underneath the chat and we will jump in and get back to you. Have a great day. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast.
You can find all of the show notes over at selenaknight.com. If you found something that you heard today particularly useful, I'd love it if you could leave me a review on iTunes or Stitcher. And of course, feel free to share this episode with someone that you think could benefit by listening to it. Want more retail biz strategies? You can watch the Bringing Business to Retail TV show, where each week I'll answer a question or provide you with a simple, actionable retail biz strategy that you can implement in your business right away. If you have a question or a guest, I'd love to hear from you. Drop my team an email at podcast@selenaknight.com, and I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great week.